Two important questions. Hey, you like my haircut? And do you like me with or without glasses better? I know I probably need to get new glasses because these are all broke. The glasses I got are broke. Somebody asked me how that happened, the glasses getting broke. Well, what happened was, since you want to know how the glasses got broke, what happened was, which is not my topic of discussion, but y'all, I asked a poll. Most of y'all said talk about politics, and some of y'all said talk about personal. So, let me give you a little personal story. What happened is I was outside trying to at my friend's house trying to feed. They'd already broke a little bit. The screw had popped out, so I had to fix them. And then I tripped outside, and my head fell, and literally the glasses fell, and they fell off my face, and he literally hit a one of those walking stones. When I was outside, sure, I think either trying to pick some grass out. So I think it was because I was trying to pull some like weeds out of the grass or some grass up so I could throw them into the friend's chicken coop. And that caused the it to get worse. And then I tried to repair it, and repairing it required me to bend the thing. And repairing the glasses, I kept bending them, and when I bent it, it popped where it completely broke. So that's how the glasses pretty much got broke. They they worked. I fixed them, and they lasted a little bit longer. And then the more because they were lopsided, the more I tried to straighten them up with the bending the glasses uh, area, it broke. Anyway, that's not really the topic of today's discussion. Today's discussion is a topic about politics, government, economic, whatever. Okay, we have two major, we have, and infrastructure problems. We have three problems that could all be fixed kind of with imminent domain. We have homelessness, we have the homelessness crisis and the housing crisis, and we have a problem with a whole bunch of people being unemployed and people not having the ability or finances to actually pursue the creation of trying to start their own business. Eminent domain could fix both the homeless problem and the housing problem and housing crisis and the business crisis. I've explained in a previous video how we could use eminent domain to confiscate all the abandoned properties and then have the homeless people live in group homes in the former abandoned properties. Part of their pay, part that way they could be rehabilitated in those homes, because homeless people, I know some of them are there because they made bad choices and bad decisions, and sometimes it's just not the particular person's fault. But for the most part, half of them are crazy, and half of them are on some kind of substance abuse problem. some kind of drugs, whether that drug is alcohol related or not. So they need to be rehabilitated and given job training, which you could do in group homes, which you could use the abandoned properties as the group homes. And part of their rehabilitation could be building said homes. I get how for Humanity actually builds homes for people. Problem I have with that is, why are they not just remodeling the already existing homes instead of building whole entire new homes? And why in the world why is the people who get these new homes, why are they not assisting building the new homes? Our church got free. We got this group called Christ Builders or whatever. I think that's the name of it. I think it was Christ Builders. They're construction workers and whatnot who help build churches. And our church was lucky because they didn't have no project that year to do. So somebody from our church knew them or whatever, and they decided to make our church a project. This was years ago when we opened my church. We as church members also assisted the Christ Builders in building the church. I assisted in building my own church. So it seems to me like building anyway, not the church is in real life is actually a congregation. But it seems like if you really wanted a house, that most of it was being built for you for free or paid for it for free, you would be out there assisting and actually building the home or house or building or whatever for yourself. Now, that being said, we also have a whole bunch of unemployed people. And we have a whole bunch of people that would like to start a business, but they have no financial capital to do so. And instead, our government is handing out unemployment checks, handing out welfare checks, handing out, trying to get people jobs with a job market system that these people just are not qualified or skilled in some cases for the jobs that are actually out there. Mainly because the jobs that are out there require you to have experience, pay too low, or require you to be, they don't want to train people themselves. I mean, we could fix that by requiring businesses to train people, but they also want people to have experience. But if you would question I've always asked is, how are you going to get experience if nobody will give you the job so that you can receive said experience? Okay? You can't get experience if nobody hires you at the entry level of that particular job so that you can receive experience from that particular field. And of course, you can't be trained to do the things if they are not willing to train you. They want you to have already trained, certified, etc., and have experience, but they don't want to give you their experience or pay for the training. They want you to pay for the training. And then after you've spent money on a trade school or gotten the experience, they want to low ball you with a low paycheck, um, which doesn't match the experience that you have or the certifications that you can prove that you have. Now, that being said, here is another way we could better use the unemployment checks, the welfare checks, and the job search things. We could use eminent domain to confiscate all these abandoned properties. There are a whole bunch of properties that corporations, public trust, private trusts, um, and the like, just have abandoned. A company shuts down a store and they just have an abandoned building now. Abandoned building. The building is just abandoned. And it both of these are fighting urban blight too, by the way. Why not use these abandoned buildings and give these abandoned buildings to entrepreneurs who want to start a business? If they fail, they just give it to another person. It's really that simple. If they're successful, um, eventually they'll be paying taxes. But my suggestion is that we use these abandoned buildings to open up businesses for entrepreneurs by giving them basically a year, because most businesses don't even last the whole year. But if they do, now they have a year of a free rent, free location. They also would have free utilities because we're helping the people start up. And instead of giving grants to non citizens, why don't we give these grants to citizens? America first, Americans first kind of deal. Um, so uh, when you turn 18, you could apply for one of these businesses that you want to try to start, or you could apply for it at any time. So that you could start a small business, a local business, and hopefully it would be successful. Um, and at the moment, we're not going to charge you anything for that business. We're not going to charge you rent, not going to charge you utilities, not going to charge you anything to run the business for like the first year. Then we'll start charging the government. So, yeah. And if you make it a successful business in 5 years, the government can then give you the option, I guess, to purchase the land, the property, or whatever. Anyways, there's got to be a better way to take care of all these abandoned buildings. We shouldn't be letting corporations or private individuals just keep houses and buildings, just keep them on the market indefinitely and not give them a time period for them to have to be sold, or they get confiscated by the government for the use of for better uses. If these people are not um, using the building, What they're doing is they're using these buildings that they can't rent because the rent is too high as excuses and to get tax write-offs for loss, because I could have made so and so amount of money if somebody would have leased my building or rented my house, but and then they also but I can sell the building or whatever. I would have made the money, but I didn't make the money because nobody was buying it. Yeah, nobody was buying because the price of the building to buy was first of all, and it was too high. The lease to rent every month was too high. So the whole reason is it's too high, and you keep it too high intentionally so that you can get a tax write-off of the location. So we got to figure out a way to make it where if you don't lease this building or improve this building or start a business at this building, within a year, the government gets to take your building. I mean, well, the government gets to make you buy your building from you at the market value of the building. You know, or something like that, so that they can then use it for another purpose. That would make it a requirement of businesses and individuals to either A, use their business building to create a business, or B, lease them out or rent them out for to somebody for some kind of cheap rent, just so that their location of their building or their business doesn't get confiscated by the government through eminent domain, which would stimulate the economy. It would also eliminate the urban blight, and it would create jobs. Either way, it's going to create jobs, stimulate the economy, and get rid of urban blight. Whether we force owners of buildings to use them or lose them, or if we just take them and give them temporarily to people who want to create and start businesses. So I've kind of mentioned some of this stuff before, but I thought I would talk about it again. Another way we could fix this is I already mentioned a thing about um, the rent to own idea, where you rent and pay, and everything you're paying on is goes toward the purchase at 0% interest, basically. So you start renting a place in, say, 2000. You start renting a place, and you started renting a place, and we're going to grandfather clause this, so all past items count too. So if you've been renting the same place that you've been renting for 10 years, the amount of money you've put into it should go to the amount of purchasing of the house valued at the house would have been 10 years ago when you first started renting. So, yeah, that's how we're going to do this. Thus, getting rid of the need for mortgages. We're also going to get rid, the best way is we need to get rid of APR for all debts, and we need to make all loans and all debts a term percentage rate. Should abolish annual percentage rates or any other type of percentage rates. If it's not term percentage rate, it shouldn't exist. All loans should be term percentage rates. Period. So and we should have a maximum term percentage rate that you can charge, which I would suggest the maximum would be 10%, meaning nobody can charge you over 10%. So if you, I loan you $100, the maximum I'm ever going to get back is $110, and it's for the term. So I can make there a requirement that the term and the minimum time for this term should be a year, regardless of what you are loaning out to get a loan. So I know pawn shops and loan places like title loan places and banks, really, and mortgage people, none of them will like that. So the minimum time should be a year, and the maximum amount for the term percentage rate should be 10%. If we did that, we would actually reduce by a lot the problem with the housing prices of why people can't afford to get buy homes. And we should also grandfather clause that. So what I mean by that is people who have already been paying mortgages, we need to adjust those to back to if they only had to pay the 10%. And if they've already paid over the amount the house was valued at when they started, the bank has to issue them the title deed for the building or location or whatever, along with the grandfather clause about the renting thing and the leasing thing and whatever, all that. And this would apply to vehicles too. Um, so if you've already paid enough in from the blue book value of, from the sticker price or whatever, the negotiated price or whatever, plus 10%, if you already paid that in, you get to keep it. Plus any previous payments on it. I kind of think that we should add previous payments, but on the other side, I'm like, because it's kind of unfair. Say I own a house and I rent it out to a person and they leave, then I can start that whole system over again, now at a different price, because maybe the house has increased in value since then. But then again, it's also not fair for you to get a free year or two off of somebody because they finally just moved out. Now, that should be applied if it's you who move out to a different place, but you're renting from the same person or same business or same company or same corporation. So say the bank owns the mortgage to both houses. In that case, it doesn't matter who your landlord is. The bank owns the mortgage to both houses, right? So you're kind of still renting from a person who's paying basically the bank off or whatever. So technically, you're kind of actually renting from the bank, even though you're renting from a person who's paying using your rent to pay the bank. That makes sense. In that case, or here's a different scenario. You've been renting from this landlord for a couple years, but then you get married and you need a bigger place. He has a bigger place for you. You shouldn't have to start over on trying to for the rent to count as paying for the place, because you're just moving from one location to another location. Same amount of money you put in the first place should go toward the second place, the newer place that you upgrade. and then say you upgrade again, and he has an even bigger place because now you have some children or something like that. You get what I'm saying here. So people that aren't going to like this though would be the rich people. See, the rich people are using the laws and the systems that we have in place to make what's called passive income. Now, we're going to eliminate their ability to make the passive income off of debt and loans and rent and leasing and so on, which decreases their ability to get rich while increasing the poor people's, lifting them out of poverty and causing them to be more middle class, more rich, which is making the rich people go down, which causes them to be more middle class. Also, this stops giving rich people incentive to just buy a house so that they can rent it to make more money. Now, if they're going to buy a house, their smart bet would be to give it away to somebody in their family. Because, or it incentivizes the landlords to have lower rents, because the lower the rent, the longer it would take to pay off the property. Stuff like that. Okay, so, and it also incentivizes the rich to actually invest their money back into the society and in general by forcing them to use it or lose it mentality for their homes, businesses, cars, houses, buildings, land, property, etc., 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 etc. With a use it or lose it mentality, they have to start using it. They have to start using it and figure out something to do with it, or they lose it and the government takes over and creates this program. Now, I'm not a big fan of government programs, so to speak, because usually when the government does it, they do a terrible job at it. But if they could figure out a way of doing it where it was efficient, like, I don't know, Trump put me in charge of this new program and it would be done efficiently. Congress pass a law, make it happen, and then Trump has a cabinet guy on it. I think it's the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Well, then you put somebody like me in charge of it because it was my idea to create the system in the first place. Anyway, back to yeah. So yeah, because I guess that's what department it would be in the jurisdiction of. It'd also be in the jurisdiction of, I guess, the unemployment, welfare, and employment agency office, or whatever that group is called. Anyway, comment down below what y'all's thoughts are, and remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Jesus loves you. Jesus God. Jesus Lord. Jesus King. Jesus everything. And hopefully this video didn't last over 30 minutes and I didn't lose any parts of it. All right. Since the video didn't take the whole 30-something minutes, here you go. Here you go. Room tour. Y'all like the room tour? Sometimes, I guess. I don't know. Comment down below which one of these toys are your favorite. Or maybe the ones over here. or here, or here, you know, in America. Yeah. How you like this new thing? The G.I. Joe swords. I found this at a thrift store and paid probably hardly nothing for like $1 or less. And I need use it now to hang up the G.I. Joe swords that I got that I might use for cosplay sometime. Or what you think about this X? Iron Man. I need to put some like pictures or something on this wall because it's kind of bland. Yeah, I might do that. I got some pictures I could put up. Uh, I got some like Power Ranger art and some Teenage Mutant Turtle art. I probably need to just hang it up on the wall. I guess I could just glue it on the wall like wallpaper, and then if it like gets ruined or I get tired of it, I just glue another thing over top of it. I do have some art, and I could just do that with to get rid of from cons or whatever. And if y'all like Power Ranger stuff, of course I have this for Power Ranger and that Power Ranger stuff. Then of course I got turtle stuff. If y'all like turtles, I know y'all like turtles. I got games, I got games all over the place. And y'all voting for him, right? Got some gun weapons and stuff. There's